say a few words if they would choose. You're not obligated to, but if you'd like, I'm going to give you the opportunity. Ms. Hawkins, will you? Ms. Short?
Thank you. I'd like the public to know that we have a lot of problems, as many of you already know. I informed my board members in the back that Mumford High School has 3 advanced placement English classes that didn't even have the textbooks, that a volunteer, one of my friends, purchased the books, and also for the math classes purchased the graphing calculators. This is just one example of the problems that we have in Detroit Public Schools as a result of a financial manager. We have our Title I, Title II, Title III, as well as our special education. Administration of those programs are going to be sent over, or they're already been sent over to Wayne Risa, effective July 1. This is all a result of the financial manager ignoring over 1,000 problems from parents as it relates to those 4 grants and the issues revolving around those 4 programs. And they went to the state and they went to the feds. And as a result, the feds decided, with the state's support, to take and transfer the administration of those programs to Wayne Risa. Now, these grants represent approximately 50% of our budget, if not a little bit more. So these are a few of the problems that I am aware that the financial manager has caused because he has not listened to the public, listened to my parents. So we're going to continue to be vigilant and continue to work with Wayne Risa and other parties that are willing to help us get our students the proper education and also help our parents help our students. Thank you.
Reverend Murray.
First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out. I want to thank the board members for being very concerned about you all, about our children and our right to vote, and I appreciate the board members standing together to fight the good fight. But I want to say it is extremely important for us to continue to stand together as family and fight the devils in high places. Because what they're doing is a disgrace to our children. They did the same thing in 1999. And we had to stand together strong then. And all this talk, they talked about one Michigan. I mean, the whole thing was a joke on the people. And what the bottom line is right now is one city that they want to destroy, the city of Detroit. And they don't care if you black, white, Hispanic, or who you are. If you are in Detroit and you're not in the $1 million bracket, they want to destroy you and take away your children's right to be educated. If you notice last year, during graduations, our children got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of scholarships to college. And some of them had the opportunity to go to D.C. and meet with the President of the United States. To me, that was something real great. What now? So much has been taken from our children. I don't know what's going to happen to them now. But I want to say, whenever the community get together for a rally, like the one we're going to have in front of the Spirit of Detroit next Monday at high noon, we should be there. Instead, and tell them no, we should never roll over and play dead. When we having a fight against the devil, we should win. Thank you.
Mr. Lemons?
Oh, yes. In 1999, the state legislature took over the Detroit Public Schools. I see my colleague, Melda Garza, who was there with me, as we fought, and they had a reform effort, and this reform did not define, didn't have any benchmarks, and it wasn't for misfeasance or malfeasance. It wasn't for any good reason. They imposed a reform effort, and they took a $100 million surplus and turned it into a $250 million deficit. And then shortly thereafter, in fact, they failed so abysmally that the initial legislation, which said the public could decide whether they want to continue with the state-imposed reform effort or to return back to an elected board, they removed the state-imposed component and asked that we want a mayoral component, and the citizens resoundingly defeated that effort. When the elected board assumed, I came before this board as a state legislator and asked them to sue at that time, to sue the state for the $250 million, a total of $350 million turnaround. And I also asked them to support my legislation to get the state to assume its deficit. At that time, the board issued a resolution, and further, a ballot proposal was put before the people, the citizens of Detroit, and it overwhelmingly passed, asking the state to assume the deficit. Now the board, the elected board, in short order, closed 34 schools after 1 year. They were forced to because of this new deficit and declining enrollment that was the direct product of the actions of the state's reform effort. Now we find ourselves, when the board challenged the interpretation, Robert Bob's, the EFM's interpretation of Public Act 72, and we prevailed, they changed the law again to give all power to Robert Bob. Robert Bob, or to the emergency manager. They changed it from an emergency financial manager to an emergency manager, giving them all power. Now that's where we sit today. We've had an emergency financial manager, and now we have an emergency manager, and the deficit has increased. $150 more in deficit. We're somewhere between $350 and $400 million in deficit. They keep helping us. We won't have any students or any money left in the state with this type of service. So unless it's time to organize, it's time to rally the troops, it's time to let all the taxpayers of the city of Detroit, don't just run, because that's what a lot of people did. They displayed. They couldn't take the assault. 250,000 people left this city in the last 10 years since that takeover. Because not only did they take over the schools with the so-called reform effort, but they eliminated our ability to impose residency on our employees. That decimated neighborhoods, entire neighborhoods, because not only did the city employees and other municipal employees leave, but the neighbors left too, because they didn't want to be left behind. So as a direct result, we lost 250,000 people. And now we even further, they keep helping, this is their way of helping Detroit. They say they're trying to help us. And if you listen to the news or you read the papers, you wouldn't know that the board didn't put us in this deficit. So I want all of you to go out and make sure you know that this is not the board's deficit, that the board hasn't done anything, that the state has had control over this district directly for 9 of the last 11 years. But only a little over 2.5 years did the board have a role. And largely in that role, we were trying to undo or fix the problems caused by the state reform effort. And now we're going to have to do something to fix the problems caused by this emergency manager, who's now only slated to be here with another 3 months at the most. So where will we be then? Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to say thank you all for coming out tonight. And I'm going to take a different approach with this and a different spin. What we have to do is face the giant. We are truly challenged. I'm going to give you 3 things that you all need to do, because I believe that education believes at home and starts with the parent and the community. No board can educate your child, no EM can educate your child, and no excellent schools can educate your child. The only person or people who can educate your child is you yourself. So I want to leave you with 3 things. The first thing is, I want you all to desire. And when I say desire, I want you all to desire to have something better, not only for the city of Detroit, but for the children and the parents in Detroit. There are approximately 70,000 students in Detroit. That means there are at least 35,000 parents. Where are they?
So I want those 35 parents to begin to desire. Secondly, the second thing is I want you to have a direction. And when I say direction, if it is that you want your child to be able to look at things on a global level and to compete with everyone, Japan, China, Indonesia, Beijing, France, Switzerland, then I want you all to put those kids on that direction and have them focus on that. Thirdly, I want you to have a determination. This is not the end, this is the beginning. So I want you all to look at this as a way for us to come up with a resolve to fix this. The only way this is going to get fixed, it's not going to get fixed in Lansing, it's not going to be fixed by these 11 board members, it's going to be fixed by those 35 to 38,000 parents who have children in DPS. So I'm going to leave you with those three things. Face the challenge, face the battle, desire, have a direction, and a determination, and we can take the city of Detroit and DPS to the next level. So do those three things for me, bring those parents into the system, and let us parents educate our children and work with the schools that we have left in the system. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Carter.
I too have to thank all the people that's sitting in the audience today. Thank you for coming out, supporting us. But most of all, thank you for supporting our children. It is not about Annie Carter being a board member. It's about what is happening to our children. Last year, I believe they took out DAPSET out of DPS. There is no school that has DAPSET, which was mostly dealing with our science. This year was the first year that our children did not participate in the science fair. That's a tragedy. We did not have an academic emergency. We had a financial emergency. There is many programs that has been attacked that is really hurting our children. Our children is being tested to death. There is no need for children to want to come to school anymore. They are bored to tears. My fight has always been about the children, not about me as a board member. Because before I got here, I was always working in the school system. I've been here before in 1999 as an elected board member and was removed. It doesn't hurt me to be removed today, but it hurt me more when our children is not getting the resources and all the necessary tools to be successful young adult. They have to pay it to the Social Security. And I'm looking for my retirement any day soon. Also, we have a problem over at David Aerospace. To my colleague, that school was one of our finest, brightest schools, and it's going down. Aviation would be in there because David Aerospace is about aviation, and they're not doing aviation in that school. That is going to be a critical problem for the district. But I thank the board president and the vice president and our colleague for giving each and every one of us the opportunity to speak tonight and made it possible for us to really listen to you guys to see what's going on. But again, it's not about us, it's about our children, our next generation. The future leader of tomorrow is the one that is suffering.